G'day guys, WestAussieFirefighter here. Back with some more questions. And today we're in the Fire and Rescue dress shirt, or well, the volunteer one. So basically, you know how the drill goes. We go through the Discord, answer some questions. If you want to join the Discord, the link is up here, also in the description box. Yeah, it should actually be a working link instead of having to copy what's up there and putting it into your browser. So you should be able to just click down below. Alright, so first question comes from Jordan. He asks, favourite appliance? I also don't mind the 2J34 as well, our fire and rescue one. Although it depends. So on the Bushfire Brigade, it's a 2.4. The 1.4 has grown on me a little bit, but the 2.4 definitely takes the podium for my actual favourite. And V4S is the 3.4. Yeah, good one. Oblong Gaming asks, how many appliances does 2J V4S have? 2. We've got the 3.4 and we've got the, I was just going to say the rescue trailer, but we've got the 3.4 and we've got the light tanker. Pictures of those should be up there too. Joshek asks, what's the difference between volunteer fire and rescue and career fire rescue besides the obvious volunteer and career commitment? Well, one's paid, right? So career guys are paid. They get more extensive training. Yeah, they get urban pumps, so we're going to get the urban tankers. Sometimes some of us have country pumps, I think. I'm not sure if that's what they're actually called anymore, but yeah, there are some country pumps as well. But we got the urban tanker, which is our 3.4, and then places like Perth or Fremantle, they get the heavy pumps, the urban pumps, and the all that. They even get foam trailers and the CLPs and the SETs. The foam trailer, I've got no idea what that does. The CLP is your combined ladder platform, so you're like America's tower trucks. They've got, or we have something like that. And then the SET is a specialized equipment tender, I believe. Pretty sure that's what. So if you go to, it's basically a truck that has like a, specialized equipment. So I wouldn't actually have a damn clue, but just like other stuff that may or may not be needed, especially on a big job. The things, they get proper dress shirts, so we only get the ones that we wear to stuff, but they get like dark ones. Dogs barking, excuse that. But yeah, there's not too much difference apart from the obvious, right? Obviously they get a C instead of a V in their service, but that's just, that's the thing. Yeah, but there's definitely quite a few differences. I'm just not entirely sure what they all are at the moment. But as far as the general sort of difference between volunteer career, they're pretty well the same, apart from just one's paid, one's not, and just slight differences between the appliances. But other than that, they're pretty much the same. Next one from Joshek asks, if you had the choice to pick a new appliance for either your Bushfire Brigade or Fire Rescue Brigade, what would you choose and why? Honestly, I don't think I'd change anything. Like, it's good for, or I might actually swap out, pick a new appliance for either. I'd get a light tanker for bushfire service, actually. We definitely need more light tankers around here. At the moment, we don't have any light tankers apart from our fire rescue one. So we could do with another light tanker in bushfire. That, because especially for where we are, I mean, looking out my window right now, you're barely going to get a truck through any of that. So light tanker will definitely do the job. Chief Firefighter asks, I know at the time of sending isn't able to respond. When was this? Oh, because I was in hospital. Was I in fire cadets? And did I get stretcher training? No stretcher training. The only training you sort of get with a stretcher is putting someone on a longboard and then putting them on the stretcher on the longboard and then lifting them up and taking the longboard out. And no, I wasn't in cadets. Trent asks, how many calls approximately do you get per month within both VFRS and BFS? I'm not actually sure. We get a few. We definitely get a few. But, yeah, we don't... I can't even put an estimate on it. It's very difficult to say. I mean, I can check what we've gotten over the year, and I can get a total number of calls over the year, but I'm not even sure if that's true calls. Like, the number that they gives us is both VFRS and BFB together, but then I'm not sure if that includes all the non-broadcasts, but, you know. Sorry, I'm not even sure if that includes the ones that are just event notifications and not actually calls. I don't know. So it's hard to say, but yeah. Joshek again asks, what do you least enjoy about firefighting? Mop up. But then again, mop up's pretty fun because, you know, you're not in that prime time of like, oh crap, I gotta get the fire out. It's more or less like, you know, you're going around, you're in the truck, you have to spray some water here and there over the bits that are still smouldering. You know, get the talk on the radio, that's my favourite part. But yeah, mop up's definitely not the funnest part, but it's most essential to stop any flare-ups and further problems along the way. So it's always good to do mop up. Has727. When responding to your calls, do you find yourself hyper-focused on getting to the station as quickly as possible safely? Of course. You know, when you get the call, people expect you to be, like, you know, doing everything as quickly as possible, but without injury to yourself. So, obviously, don't speed to the station. Don't be on your phone when going to the station. Don't do dumb stuff while on your way to the station. Don't do dumb stuff while at the station, and don't do dumb stuff while you're coming from the station. You know, whether that's going to the actual call or even just going home if you're being stood down or come back from a call. Just don't do dumb stuff. Pretty simple, I would imagine. But yeah, I find myself, I'm focused on 3 things maybe. Like, you know, obviously I listen to the radio or the scanner, so I can hear what's going on before I even get to the station, and then you're listening to it when you're going to the call as well. You're focused on actually getting to the station in the quickest and safest manner possible. Obviously not by speeding, because you will get stopped. It doesn't matter if you're responding to a call or not. Police will not take that as an excuse. So remember that if you ever get into a brigade, don't speed to the station, for God's sake. Also, yeah, just don't speed to the station. Don't do dumb stuff. And the other thing is thinking about what I'm gonna do at the station. So when I arrive on the station, what is it that I'm doing? If someone's there already has a door open, I'm gonna unplug the trucks. I'm gonna pull the trucks out to the front of the station, not in VFRS, but in BFB especially. Like, you know, get the trucks out of the station, lock up station, make sure water is in the trucks, make sure the radios are in the trucks, and you know, all that stuff. So there's a lot of things you're focused on, but when you're getting there, just don't do dumb stuff on your way there, because the last thing that anyone needs is to look after you if we've already got a call. From Aaron, what is the funniest thing you have come across on a fire ground, whether it be from public or other crews? this is going to sound a little odd, but people falling over is quite funny. Obviously, they're not hurt. I remember on my first call, we were out, and the crew leader I was with fell over, and couldn't help but just laugh a little bit. But yeah, no, he was alright. You know, it's all fun and game. Well, it's all fun and games in the sense that, you know, you've got to have some fun. It's not entirely serious. But if the crap's hitting the fan and you've got to do something, don't put jokes in there. Don't throw jokes out if you're on the ball, and, like, you know, if you've got a running bushfire like we had last year, you don't want to be throwing jokes out then. You know, you want to be on top of your game, doing what you're there to do, which is stop and control and contain the fire. But when you're doing stuff like mop up, or, you know, even if you're on your way to the job, you know, cracking a few jokes here and there are all good. You know, it's a good bonding session. But yeah, people falling over is certainly funny. Obviously, you make sure they're alright in that, but you have a good laugh about it at the end. From Josh Eck again. My goodness, he's got a few. How does your roster work for BFB and VFRS? Is it first station or set availability? So BFB, especially in the fire season, for BFB, we've got a roster. Usually we're on... It's a weekend roster, so, and it's usually members that put their names down for the roster are on 8 weeks, usually, is basically how long you're on for. Spread out, obviously. But yeah, so it's a weekend roster thing. VFRS, you don't have a roster. It's just whoever's available at the time of the call. And yeah. When it's open burning season in BFB, there is no roster. It's just whoever's available at the time. And during the week as well, when you're in fire season, it's just whoever's available. There's no roster in the week because people are working and stuff. But on the weekend, we've got set rosters. Another one from Josh. What do you wear under your PPE? Brigade shirt, the black one. That's usually a good one to wear because you're not getting your own clothes filthy and dirty and smelling of smoke. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then if you got your level 1s in VFRS, if you got your level 1s on and you're going out to a road crash, you chuck your level 2 pants on top of that. It's hot, but, you know, what are you going to do? It's just part of it, you know? From Soviet Husky. What do you think about Forest Products Commission and Sparks and Wildlife? They're actually pretty damn helpful. They provide... Parks and Wildlife, they provide us with the fixed wing bombers, you know, the little single pilot planes. They are owned by Parks and Wildlife but are utilised by DFES, especially in large scale bushfires such as the Whirloo one or the Red Gully one. Red Gully? Yeah, Red Gully. And they also provide us with machinery such as bulldozers and loaders and stuff, so we can cut in containment lines and, you know, create fire breaks. So they're good in that instance. Parks and Wildlife, they do their own parks burns to reduce fire risk through summer. That's also very good because it means that we get not less of a fire risk, but if a fire does happen to break out during the fire season and Parks and Wildlife have already burnt the forest, then, you know, it's just much less of a hassle trying to get it under control. It's actually much easier to get it under control when you do burns. I know some people don't like it because of the animals and that, but at the end of the day, you know, you got to think, would you rather lose your home because we haven't burnt? Would you rather lose your home in a large scale bushfire because we haven't burnt the parks and therefore it's harder to control? Or would you rather have your house saved because we've used the mitigation technique to reduce the time it will take to control a fire in the area if we hadn't done the mitigation? a little confusing, but yeah, there's that. Um, Another one from Soviet Husky. What do you think about DFA's lack of ladder appliances compared to other states and nations? I think in WA we only have 2 CLPs. Not entirely sure. I think we got Fremantle and Perth CLP, but it's not likely that we're gonna have fires in buildings that are right up there. It's not likely that we're gonna need a CLP. We don't get calls every day that require a CLP, so I think even 2 CLPs is, yeah. But if the number of appliances is too low, I'm pretty sure DFAS would have done something about it by now and got more. But even with 2 appliances that we've had for a few years now, there's not been a problem with the fact that there's only 2, so there's really no justification to need more at the moment. So there's that. But there's also other ways. If we happen to need another ladder appliance, we've always got, like, I'm not sure how practical it would be, but you've got like your cherry picker hires and all that and those other things. So if we were really desperate, then I'm pretty sure we'd be utilizing those. But yeah, at the moment I don't see a problem with it. 2 is probably more than enough, especially for Perth. But if you get something up in, you're not even going to get something really outside of Perth. It's just mainly Perth and sort of just, down the... Yeah, sorry, I had to get my north, my east and west. And I think east is... Yes, that'd be right. So, it's more down the western sort of coast area, southwestern coast, that you'll probably need the CLP more. And I think 2 is more than enough, honestly. Because like I said, you don't hear very many calls every day where you're going to need a CLP. Probably you only need the CLP at least like once a month even. So I don't see a problem with it. And like I said, if it was a problem that we had too little, DFAS would get another one. Not sure where they station it, but they'd get another one. Do you prefer... Sorry, there's 2 more here from Soviet. Do you prefer European sirens or American sirens? What about Aussie sirens? Got to support the locals here, surely. Aussie sirens are good. But I do like the American sirens. I don't like the European high-low sirens too much. It's like just really odd. Even the German sirens, like, they're just really annoying, honestly. But I suppose it sort of gives you more of a reason to get out the way. Like, you want to get that sound that's behind you away from you as fast as possible. So there's that. But yeah, American sirens are pretty good. What do you feel about 10 codes? I like them. Probably not practical here, but 10 codes definitely do have their place in America. But yeah, I wouldn't be using them here. From Brano, if you had the opportunity to decide what trucks your BFB and VFRS stations had, what would you choose and why? This is like the other question from Josh when he asked if we could add a new appliance. The only thing I'd change is put a light tanker in the BFB brigade, or BFB brigades even. But apart from that, trucks can stay the same, absolutely fine. And one from literally just today, not too long ago, from Josh. What are some common misconceptions about volunteer firefighters and firefighting in general? So, one of the big ones I see a lot, people think people think the difference between volunteers and paid guys is that the paid guys are professional firefighters and that we're not. We're both professional in our own way. Just, I'd like to make it clear that one's paid, one's not, but we're both professional. So when you say professional firefighters and volunteers, that is quite redundant. But I understand that in terms of with some people, or what one of the definitions of professional is the job you're paid for. So your profession, you know. I mean, it's common, it's understandable, but yeah, I'd just like to point out that when people say professional firefighters and volunteer firefighters in the same sentence, you know, they're referring to the job as a profession and not saying that the paid guys are professional and that we're not. Because, like I said, we are professional. We're trained to deal with things. I've also heard that some people don't believe that there's other colors of flames. I am quite interested to hear why, because some of the cardboard stuff, I think they're filters that you get in air cons. If you burn them, they're like a green flame, like a green to blue. Then if you're burning, you know, I think it's ethanol. It's a clear flame, so you can't see it. I'll have to get fact checked on that one, but that's just what I've heard. But there is other colors of fire. It just depends on the material that's burning. Like, usually your combustibles like leaves and sticks and wood and that. Well, just leaves and wood. You know, that's an orange flame. That's just like your regular flame. On a Bunsen burner, it's orange as well. But then you get some stuff, I'm not sure what it is, but like some chemicals, I don't recommend doing it at all, but some chemicals will burn a blue flame. Some you might even get like a yeah, I don't know what other colors there are. I'd like to point out here that the color of the flame depends on how hot the material burns, but there's definitely more colors than just orange. I haven't messed around with any chemicals in fire because I don't want to. I don't want to set a bad example. But yeah, there's more colors than just orange. Alright, so for this question I've actually resorted to 7 fire misconceptions because I can't think of any off the top of my head. Myth 1, smoke alarms are enough protection. Absolutely not. They will wake you up and will tell you pretty much to get out of the house and that, but they won't stop the fire. They don't do anything to stop the fire. They won't tell children how to get out of a house, and they won't help any elderly people who are slow or can't move by themselves to get out of the house. So it's only there for the alert that there's something wrong, but they don't actually help or protect you. So yeah, don't rely on smoke alarms to sort it out for you, because they definitely do not. Myth 2, fire sprinklers do more damage than a fire. Well, if I had a fire sprinkler in here and there was a fire burning next door, I would much rather the sprinkler coming down and spraying water and ruining my drawers and frying my motherboard, rather than the fire coming through and burning me alive, you know? So, of course, I wouldn't actually be in this room anyway, but, you know, if that was the case, I'd much rather life without PC for a few, maybe months, and I'd much rather life without drawers, rather than losing my life to a fire when it could have been prevented simply by sprinklers. Yeah, it's easy to replace a PC, but it's not possible to replace human life. So I don't know why people would care that sprinklers do more damage when they're there to help you. Myth 3. In a fire, flames cause the most casualties. No. Like, you know, the flame is obviously a killer, like it will burn you, but the smoke can cause asphyxia in 3 to 5 minutes. So, you know, smoke inhalation is a bit more deadlier than being burned by the fire. That's why we have breathing apparatus on our appliances, because we don't want to be inhaling all that smoke, especially when there's stuff like plastic being burnt, which is not a very good smoke at all to inhale. So definitely don't be doing that. But yeah, smoke inhalation is definitely a much bigger killer than what the flame itself is. Myth 4. All fire extinguishers are the same. They are definitely not. Right? They are not. So I've got a chart here. Your class, there's actually 5 classes. I know you think there might be 6 there, but electrical is not a class, because electricity is not something that burns, it's something that ignites. So that's what the difference there is. So your class A is your stuff like organic materials like paper, coal, wood. Your class B is your flammable liquids like petrol and paint. Class C is your flammable gases like butane, methane. Your class D is your flammable metals like lithium and magnesium. Your electrical, so computers and servers and that, but like I said, it's not the electricity that burns, it's what it ignites. So you don't want to be putting water on electricity, because you're doing more harm than you are doing good. Class F is your cooking oils. So it's even got businesses that may need this type of extinguisher there as well. But, you know, you've got your on fire extinguishers around the top. There should be a band. If it doesn't have one, it's I'm not sure how old this one is. This looks like a UK one, but so you get different ones. Like the black one is CO2 everywhere. You've got a white one here in Australia, which is your dry powder, so that's like ABE. I think the water one is either foam. Sorry, I think the blue one is either foam or water. I'm not sure. I think it's actually both. But yeah, the colors on this one are slightly different to what we have in Australia. But yeah, you can see there what you can use it on. So your class ABE ones, which is your dry powder, you don't want to use it on cooking oils, because you don't want to use it on cooking oils. You can use it on your stuff like you know, outside if you've got a campfire. You can use them at petrol stations if you accidentally spill fuel and it ignites. But I don't think you'd have enough time to grab an extinguisher and use it at a petrol station. But, you know, if a car catches fire, use your dry powder. Class C, you can use, Class C is just, I don't know many places around here that would need a Class C, but sure. Class D, so lithium, magnesium, you might need that in a welding room, maybe. Electrical, you can use dry powder and CO2 on, not your foam in the water or your wet chemical. But yeah, definitely don't use your dry powder on Class F. But water ones, the only ones you can use water on is your Class A, so outside on a campfire or something, because water is more dense than what petrol is, so petrol will float on top of the water, it will still be burning, so unless you have a hell of a lot of it, you ain't gonna do anything. But I wouldn't recommend putting water on it anyway. Just go with your dry powder. As you can see, your most common one is your dry powder one, because it can be used on the most, but then in kitchens and stuff you'll have your Class F ones, which is organics and cooking oils. But yeah, it's a good little thing there. The colours aren't quite right for Australia, I don't think, but because I'm pretty sure our water ones are yellow. Sorry, our water ones are blue, like I said. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, there's that one for you. So next misconception is myth 5: newer buildings are safer. Depends. Newer buildings, you have all the top sort of your fire suppression, like your sprinklers and that, but you can also put them in older buildings. Older buildings, you might have a little bit more wood, especially in the roof area. I know ours does, but you know, your new buildings might have steel and all that, but new buildings and older buildings, it doesn't really matter. It's just sort of, I guess, what the buildings are made out of, and you know, like I say, you can still put fire suppression in old buildings. Not too hard. Myth 6: people will panic. They absolutely will. That's why we do fire drills. You know, so you can sort of reduce the panic in a real situation. At least then by doing drills, you know where you're going to go, well, what you're going to do, where you're going to go, your evacuation route, basically all that. Whereas if you didn't do any of that, no one would know what to do and you'd all be screwed pretty well. But yes, people will panic anyway. It doesn't matter how many drills you've done, people will still panic. But some people are better at it and can kick their thinking into gear, which overrides the panic, and you can help other people to get out if they are panicking. But yeah, fire safety drills are definitely important, and just, you know, just use whatever it takes to keep you from panicking, and you should be alright. Myth 7: the fire will wait until I finish my email. No, fire never waits. Fire doesn't care. It'll burn whatever. It'll burn everything, and it will burn anything. It'll burn anything, and it will burn everything. So, you know, usually if you're in a place and you spot fire, don't wait, because you want to get that out as quick as possible. There's no point waiting and, you know, letting the situation get worse than it needs to be when you can deal with it right away, right? So if I was typing an email out here and fire started over there, I'm like, oh, nice, just keep typing away. That fire's going to get bigger, especially if it's at the base of my curtain. It's going to go up my curtain and into my roof space before I know it. So yeah, don't wait, because fire won't. It'll just go. But yeah, that just about sums it up for this video's questions. I know it was more than 11, but still fun to do more than you intended, and especially since there hasn't been a video in a little while. Reasons behind that, but yeah. So that just about concludes it for today, and thank you guys for coming out, and hope to see you soon, whether you join a brigade or in the unfortunate event that we may or may not be called to assist you. Yeah, hopefully that's not the way we meet, but yeah. So thank you for coming out, spending your time watching this video. Hopefully you learned something, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Catches.